The complete guide to Bootstrap's grid system and how to create your own.
All of the source code and links to resources I use will be available in the description. And underneath our hero, we want to go ahead and create a product grid. So what I'm going to do is navigate back to the Bootstrap documentation, navigate back to grid, and down here, I want to go ahead and copy this grid, go back to our styling, and simply paste it right here. And from this point, I'm going to go ahead and change this div into a main element, change our container to a large container, and get rid of the text center here. And again, if you want to learn more about containers, simply go back to Bootstrap and look for containers right here. And before we go back, I want to scroll down to where it says grid options. First, it'll show you all of the grid options that you have here, and then it will say that you have 12 columns inside of your grid, and it will show you the breakpoint for each one of your grid options. So if you use an extra small grid, it's only going to be used if it's less than 576 pixels, and then small if the viewport is greater than 576 pixels. And let's say you don't include anything else except a small grid here. What it's going to do is it's going to use it for whatever viewport that is displaying at over 576 pixels, but you can go ahead and create more breakpoints if you want. And this is going to be used to make your website responsive. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If we navigate back over here, what I want to do is also include the ID equal to suits here on our main element. Down here where it says row, I want to include a gap of 2 followed by a margin of 5, and you can also use margin for the y-axis, x-axis, top, and bottom like so. But for now, we're just going to do all 4 sides using just M-5. Next, we're going to move on to our columns here, and you're going to notice that we have 3 of them. And since the class is simply set to call here, you're going to notice that our first row is showing all of our 3 items spaced evenly apart. But if we go ahead and change these all to something like call-12, you're going to notice that only 1 is displaying on each row, since again, Bootstrap uses a 12 column layout for each row. So effectively, we're saying that we want each item to take up an entire row and then move the next item on to the next row. But if we change this to something more like -6, you're going to see 2 items on each row, since 6 goes into 12 2 times. And then obviously we only have 1 on the second row because we only have 3 items. So for our layout, what we're going to do is change that back to 12 for small devices. And next we want to create a small breakpoint. So we'll say small, and then we want to say 6 here. So now you guys can see that it's displaying 2 items in each row. And then we also want to include a medium of 4. At this point, go ahead and inspect your page, and at a full viewport width, you're going to notice that we have 3 items. But if we go down to that first breakpoint, you're going to see that it switches to 2 items here. And then if we get even smaller, it'll switch to 1. So this is how you space and size everything in a grid system using Bootstrap. And inside of this first column here, what we want to do is create a div with a class of shadow-small and add a padding of 2. Create an H3 element with a font size of 3 and paste in our text. Create an image, and we'll add the class W-100 for 100% width and a margin bottom of 4. And here we want to use our image right here, and then make sure you add your alternative text. So we'll just add sport suit jacket. And now you guys can see our layout starting to come together. Next, we'll create an H4 with our price right here of $2.99. Create a paragraph element and paste in our text. Copy the button from our hero section and go ahead and paste it down below here. but we also want to add a type attribute equal to button here. And so now you guys can see our card coming together for our product. And what I want to do now is go ahead and copy this, paste it 2 more times for the rest of our products here. So now you guys can see I simply copied this one here, pasted it down below twice, and just changed out all of the options here. And I accidentally put shop here for my text. That should actually be add to cart. So I'll go ahead and change that by simply copying this and pasting it right here. So now at this point, you can see our product layout displaying. And if I make this a full viewport width here, you're going to see that it displays in a 3-column layout. And if I inspect it and start shrinking it down from that full viewport width, you're going to notice that it resizes responsively based on the containers and the column sizing that we created.
Tap here to see what happens next.